So, hello everyone, and thanks for coming. Like the title says, I'm gonna talk about our game Barotrauma and how we developed the game in tight cooperation with our community, and also how we actually built the community. So we did quite uncommon way. So if you think about developing games openly with your community. For example, most of the AAA games, our studios can't do that. So this has been our approach. So first, a short introduction about me and my company. So my name is Jauhiainen. I'm the CEO and co-founder of FakeFish. FakeFish is an indie studio, and we are located in Turku, Finland. Personally, I have been working my whole career in my own company in FakeFish, so around 5.5 years. And so we founded FakeFish in 2014 in summer. We were a bunch of student mates and finishing our studies in our university. And we just wanted to make games together and found good group. At the same time, we were participating in our local accelerator program for the startups. So that's how our journey started. So we have grown slow and steady over the years. So when we started, we had 5 members or co-founders, and now we are a team size of 16 people. We are focusing on developing premium PC games, and to be more specific, horror and survival hardcore games like Barotrauma. Some information about Barotrauma. It's actually a joint project between FakeFish and Underdog Games. And Underdog Games is a one-man company, and behind that is Joonas Rikkonen, aka Regalis, who is our lead programmer. So Joonas was the one who started to develop Barotrauma as his solo project in 2014. And it was actually his second solo project. So I'm going to talk a little later more about his first solo project, because that played a huge part in our success. Yeah, this. So yeah, when Joonas started in 2014, few years after that, we joined our forces with FakeFish, so we started to work with the game with the bigger team. And early this year, we found a publisher to our game, so our German PC publisher, Daedalic Entertainment, came along. And we got the funding from them, and we were able to finish the development and launch the game. Next, I'm going to show you a short video about Barotrauma.
Multiplayer Submarine Simulator in space. It's a game of teamwork, creative choices, and crisis management. Your mission? Survive in a hostile alien environment humanity was never meant to reach. Welcome to the dark ocean beneath the frozen surface of Jupiter's 6th moon. Welcome to Europa. Take command of a submarine, its crew, and its many onboard systems. Work with your team, think strategically, and be prepared to adapt as your situation changes. Travel between outposts and explore the frozen deep sea, but beware, you're not alone. Will you fight or flee? The sub is a complex vessel that requires regular maintenance and skillful operation. All systems are interconnected and powered by a nuclear reactor. Manage the reactor with care, or you'll be in trouble. Choose from 5 player classes. Getting the right crew for the job is essential for running a successful mission. Crisis is ever present and can escalate quickly. Act decisively and work together with your crew to keep trouble at bay. Beneath the frozen surface lies a diverse world, rich with resources, flora and fauna. Explore the different biomes in various locations, one step at a time, on your journey toward the heart of the ocean. Adventuring isn't cheap. Keeping your submarine and crew well equipped is essential. Items can be bought or crafted from the raw resources you'll find in the environment. You can build your own submarines and monsters with in-game editors and share your creations with other players. Barotrauma has several game modes for both single and multiplayer, and you can even come up with your own ways to play. Imagine and experiment. Find Barotrauma on Steam and embrace the abyss.
All right, so like you saw, Barotrauma is a submarine simulator. The focus is in survival and teamwork, and it's at first place, it's a multiplayer game, so it tends to be really fun to play, especially with your friends. So we released the game in early access on Steam this year, early June, and the start has been actually pretty promising. So after 6 months, we have sold around 75,000 copies, and so this continues to be our main project. So 75,000 copies, and it's still in early access. So we are still developing the game, and we have released a couple of major updates, and our plan is to release the game in some point next year, make the full launch. All right, so let's jump into the beef of the presentation. So first I'm going to talk about how we build our community. So nowadays, when Steam gets more saturated, it's crucial to get visibility and get traction to your game. So basically what you want to do is build hype around your game. So it's a really good idea to build a community. So to get like a critical mass of followers to see what you're doing. And actually building the community and managing it has been one of the biggest success we have done. So in other words, if you don't have a community, you don't have a game. Don't start from the scratch if you don't have to. You want to start early. So when you're about to start your development, you should start at the same time building your community as well, because it will take some time to grow it. Try not to start from the zero. Try to use something that's already there, and something that you're actually really into. It might be like some phenomenon or some existing IP, or even something that you have done in the past. So if there's some followers, try to benefit from that. And in our case, because Underdog Games' first solo project, that became a quite successful hit, so that helped us a lot growing our Barotrauma community. And the first game of Underdog Games was SCP Containment Breach. So this was a roguelike horror walker single-player game. It was completely free, open source game, and it was based on this SCP Foundation, which is basically an internet website where people go write these horror stories and paranormal monsters together. So Jonas was part of this community and made a game about these monsters. And it went pretty well. One of the biggest YouTubers and streamers picked up the game and started to make content about it. So, for example, PewDiePie and Markiplier made some videos about it, and it got millions of views, and Jonas got a lot of fans, and Underdog Games got a lot of fans because of that. Also, be cool, mysterious, weird, or something unique. So the point here is that you want to stand out from the masses. Barotrauma gets usually compared to the other certain titles like Dwarf Fortress, Faster Than Light, and especially Space Station 13, which has been one of the biggest reference and influencers to Barotrauma. But the game is a little weird. It's quite niche game, and some could call it quite unique. You also probably want to develop a game which can stand on its own 2 feet. Some idea that you like to talk about, and some game that you would like to play as well. Because when you like to talk about your game, you probably do it more. And then you can get some positive feedback from your fans and strangers over the internet. So it's really important to let people hear about your idea. And also nowadays, designing by numbers is pretty trendy, to use metrics and so on, but totally opposite has paid off in our case. So develop some idea that you really believe in. All right, so I already mentioned about the influencers. So this is nowadays a really huge opportunity to get marketing to your game and get the eye pairs. So if possible, try to design a game which is not only interested to play, but also interested to watch. Usually influencers tend to look these type of titles. And the whole influencer industry has grown rapidly over the years. So nowadays there's a lot of money going around. So for example, the big influencers cost tons of money that they will feature your game. And this is not probably the best position to be as a poor indie game developer. But on the other hand, the number of streamers has grown as well. So they are constantly looking for new, fresh content to their fans. And if you have a unique idea, you might have a shot that they will cover your game. Yeah, this is one of the biggest traffics. So in our case, when the Barotrauma was still in development phase, this Canadian streamer Kraken2 picked up the game and started to make videos about it. And those videos got like millions of views again. So a lot of his fans became Underdog Games fans and Barotrauma fans. And nowadays the Markiplier has as well covered Barotrauma a couple of times, so that's super cool. So if possible, try to form these long-lasting relationships with the influencers. I know it's not easy. We have just few one, but you can think about like the streamers can be also part of your or members of your community as well. Honest hard work. So nothing will actually happen if you're not willing to work for it. So post regularly in multiple channels, but also try to find the relevant places to post. So for example, the Facebook indie game channel, the groups are probably not the best places to post, because at the end of the day, those are developers, not your potential community members. But don't get me wrong, it might be good to get like feedback and share your progress there. When you post, be persistent but not spammy. So repetition and regular updates are the key here. And remember to listen as well, so don't just post, listen and check what the people say back to you. Word of mouth. So if you get some members to your community, you don't have to do all the job by yourself. So inspire these members to spread the word for you. Barotrauma is a multiplayer and co-op game in first place. So sometimes co-op games can sell itself. So community members tend to play these co-op games with their friends, and so the friends might become also part of your community, and the community grows. Pure luck. I got to say that we at FakeFish we have been quite lucky during our journey, but I would say that the Jonas and Underdog games has been even luckier, like crazy lucky in the beginning to get those influencers to play the game. But also luck needs to be earned, so you need to work hard for it, and not every good game will become a successful game. So Barotrauma is the 4th game of FakeFish, so keep pushing, keep trying. Yay, I have a community, what now? Well, now the job just starts, so you need to manage the community. I'm not going to go too deep about it. This would probably own topic of the like the presentation. But in shortly, talk with your community, answer the questions, have fun with them, and in best case, you might get some new friends there. And be sure that they have access to their favorite developer. That's why you are their favorite developer. All right, open development. So community members, they really love to get influence to you and your game. And we have seen that these people are extra loyal and devoted. And they can be actually really helpful to you. So opening the development to our community members has been one of the most successful thing that we did. What those usually do in concrete level, they can provide you real-time feedback, full-blown code reviews, bounce some ideas, and give some critique as well. So this can be both huge, it can be both intimidating, but extremely efficient as well. So don't get upset if you get a critique. I mean, every little helps here. Next I'm going to go through some ways how we made our community able to contribute to the game development process. So first of all, end user license agreement. So Barotrauma started almost as an open source game, but the intention was all the time to make a commercial game at some point. So when you're doing free game, this open development is pretty straightforward process, but if you're doing a commercial game, it gets a bit trickier, so you need to have rules and boundaries. So we are using our end user license agreement, and that allows that we can share the source code to the players and especially modders, but they are not allowed to share standalone versions of the game. So basically they can contribute, but license holder, us, owns all the rights. So the license agreement that sets boundaries to our openness, and that's the whole foundation of our game development process. But be sure that everybody understands the rules, and the rules are somewhere that it's really easy to access, that nobody can't ignore it. Share your unfinished work or unfinished game. So we started to share the builds almost straight away, and we shared the builds up until the early access launch. So the first build was shared in early 2015, so a couple of months after the development process started. And in my opinion, you should do that as quick as you can, or when you have something playable, and make also the regular updates. And when you do that, when you share your builds, you start to get feedback and critiques, so be prepared to answer that. So when we partner up with our publisher, we started to restrict our openness step by step. So it wouldn't work that we would just put like a price tag on our game because it was yesterday free game. So we had to make like this smooth transaction. And what we did, that from 2019 spring on, we made only the source code available, so all the art and audio assets were developed in private. And that means that the modders could get access to the source code, but the public can't compile the up-to-date game. What we also did, because we had like a two version of the game, we had the free game and then we have the upcoming commercial game. So when we hit to the early access launch, we took down all the master servers of the free game and started to support only the commercial Steam version. And even now, the source code still public, remains public, and we haven't made any changes to our end user license agreement. So the license agreement restricts players to distribute the free version, but the players who owns the free version can still play it. Showcase your progress. So it's cool that if you can share the builds to your community, but usually they want to know more. So they want to know what happens daily basis, and they just want to know how the game progresses. So you want to be probably as transparent as you can. So in our case, we have public GitHub, where is the source code available. This is a place that some people can track the development and also report some bugs. But not everybody will go there, so probably you'd want to have another alternative channels. In our case, we have a public Trello. We make the post in the Steam. We have our social media channels. We are writing blog and YouTube and Twitter. So Barotrauma is a highly moddable game. It has been there all the time, and it's one of the key kind of features of the game. So not all the modders will go to the GitHub and poke the code, but there's a lot of modders who have the scratch the same itch. So we think that modding the game or the modder fan base can really bring or keep the game fresh for a longer time. And one good example is that when the game was still in development, one modder made this Barotrauma extended mod, and it became actually more popular than the original vanilla version of the game. So modders can do cool stuff. We try to keep the Barotrauma as easy to mod as possible. So we have all our editors in game, so all the players who have bought the game can access to these tools, and we are using actually all the same tools to develop the game further. And also we have all the data of the game is exposed by XML files. So if you have the know-how, it's pretty easy to start modding. QA. This is probably one of the most obvious ways how the community can be part of the development process. So Barotrauma it's a complex and hardcore game. So there's a lot of moving parts, and testing the game is really important. And our community has helped us here. So as a developer, you know that the QA can be sometimes quite expensive, but most importantly, it's heavily time consuming. So when the community helps us here, it saves our time, and we can focus more on the development itself. The community has helped us in the QA from the beginning, but it was a long time quite unorganized. So in early this year, we brought it in the more organized level. So we selected the most active community members and formed this alpha tester group. So those players got the Steam version for free. But we figured out quite soon that we need to coordinate this group. And now we have a QA engineer who is like holding these test sessions with the community. And this tends to be still our first layer of QA, so these members will have access all the latest changes in first place. It's a great value. It's an added bonus that these players are our most loyal and hardcore fans. They love the game, they love to talk about it, and they tend to catch quite many bugs. But we shouldn't rely on this only, because it's free, they are doing it voluntarily, and the quantity and quality can vary quite a lot. So we have our second layer of QA, and our publisher is helping there. And of course, like before we send these builds to our community testers, we first test those in-house. Vision, guidance, and feedback. So the community can also help maintaining and refining the vision of the game. So Barotrauma started as a solo project, and then when FakeFish joined, we had a bigger group, so it would be quite easy to get lost along the way. So when the community really knows what they like and what they don't like, that can keep you on the track with the vision. So yeah, community can play a big role validating the new changes and so on, but there will always be some less great ideas. I mean, everybody has their own opinions. So you need to be sure that the developer, you are making the final calls. Because open development doesn't necessarily mean that it's designing the game by popular demand. Stand behind your decisions. So especially like those community members who keep a close eye on what you're doing and how the game evolves, might get disappointed about your choices and directions you take. And they don't understand something or stuff like that. And we figured out that it's not the end of the world. Some will come around it, but there's always people who will not. So this can be sometimes a bit stressful, but still even the negative feedback can help in the process. Okay, so the short recap. So game development is not a one-way street. So the community members, they love to get involved in the development process, and it can be really valuable resource to you. But you need to dedicate some time and resources to build and manage your community. Open development is not only for free games, it can work with the commercial game as well, but you need to be really clear what is open and what is not. And be sure that the rules are somewhere easily available. Get to know your community, so stay informed what your community is talking about. And if you don't have the time to do that, it's maybe a good idea to hire, for example, community manager to talk with the community and taking care of that. And also encourage your other devs to talk directly with the players, because the players appreciate really openness. So talk and know what they think about. And lastly, sharing is caring. So if you're open, be consistently open. Share, include your players to the progress, talk with them, listen to them, and don't let your players in the dark. All right, that was it. So next, if there's some questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you.